Hi, welcome to Left Foot Media. My name is Brendan Malone. Well, the other night I watched 7 Pounds, the 2008 movie starring Will Smith, Rosario Dawson and Woody Harrelson. For those who haven't seen it, Will Smith plays the lead character, Ben, and he's a guy who's a pretty good guy, but he has a car accident and he causes the death of 7 people. And so he decides that he's going to make amends for the other people's lives that he's taken by ending his own life and donating all of his organs to save the lives of 7 other people. And it's one of those films that's pitched as a romantic drama, and it's a bit of a mystery throughout that unfolds. It's quite a cleverly crafted film, and you get to the end of it and you think, wasn't that nice? A nice drama, a nice sort of tale about self-sacrifice, until you actually stop and think about this film for a couple of seconds, and then you realise, like I did, this isn't a drama, and this definitely isn't a romantic drama. This is a horror film. Like, I stopped to think about this after watching it the other night, and I thought to myself, was this originally pitched as a horror film? Because think about this. Just think about the plot and the main message that we get from this film. So there's a guy, Ben, who's played by Will Smith, who is a good guy. There's no indication that he's a nasty, evil, self-centered person. He's a good guy. He's out with the love of his life one night. He makes a simple slip-up, looks at his phone when he's driving when he shouldn't. He causes an accident that kills 7 people, including the love of his life. He then spirals into a depressive state and then becomes pathological about this belief that he has to commit suicide and kill himself because he carries the weight of guilt and shame for what he's done. And not only does he have to kill himself, but he has to have his organs harvested and given to 7 other people. Otherwise, he cannot make amends. And this is the only way that he can put right all the shame and the guilt that he carries. And when you realize that's the actual main story, the main message, you realize this is a horror movie. I think they tried to pitch this maybe as a horror movie at first and not a drama. And someone in the studio said, yeah, I like it, but can you make it into a drama, and can you give us a bit of a romantic twist in there as well? Like, this whole thing is, in fact, the more you think about it, the more you realize how weird and creepy and deranged Ben actually is. Will Smith's character is actually someone who needs good care, help, love, good people around him. Like, he's isolated throughout the whole film. He is obsessed and pathological. He has planned out this whole intricate plan. He's lying to people. He's pretending to be something he's not. He's got almost like a messiah complex where he's choosing people that he thinks are the most deserving for his organs. He has this big elaborate suicide pact that he goes through. He sleeps with the woman who he's going to give his heart to, and then just hours later goes and takes his own life. And the whole thing, like imagine this was one of your relatives who had this happen to them. They had a car accident where they made a slip up and they're a good person and they caused the deaths of 7 people. And then they began to tell you that the only way they could make amends was by committing suicide and having their organs harvested. You wouldn't think, oh, what a lovely self-sacrificial gesture. You're such a good person. I wish I could be like you. You're practically Jesus. No, you'd be thinking, what are you talking about? This won't make amends. This is not how you resolve your shame and your guilt. There was one point at which I did wonder whether the actual writer and director perhaps realised the true horror of this plot, the main message here, and there was a little musical cue towards the end. You hear, actually, I think it starts just before he takes his own life, Will Smith, and you hear there's an orchestral piece of, it's a piano piece of music that's played. It's part of the score, but they don't resolve the end of each musical line properly. Instead, they play a chord that is not a complete chord, and there's dissonance there. And it doesn't sound right. There is literally a bung note played at the end of each line. So it doesn't resolve itself. And this musical cue makes you uneasy, and it gives you the sense that there's not completion here. Now, what's interesting is that same musical cue turns up at the very end of the film after he's taken his life, and these people now have his organs, and shouldn't they all be nice and happy? And in actual fact, there's that musical cue again that turns up that maybe, just maybe, the writer, the director, whoever decided that, they were actually trying to subtly tell the audience that this wasn't a good thing. The problem is the film doesn't really play it like that. The rest of the film plays this as a mystery, drama, bit of a thriller, with this romantic angle in it, and this whole, what a heroic, self-sacrificial kind of guy he is. But when you think about it, that's really not what he is at all. There's this other interesting thing about the movie too, and there's this message which is, when you think about it, I imagine people within the disability community would have been quite upset about it, and that's the whole message around the character of Ezra, played by Woody Harrelson. He's blind, and Ben, Will Smith's character, becomes obsessed with donating his eyes, or parts of his eyes, I'm not sure which it was, but donating his eyes to Ezra so that Ezra can see again. And the whole subplot here, the message of the subplot, is that Ezra is basically an inferior loser because he has this disability. He has blindness, and so therefore he's not living a full and complete life, and he must be saved by Ben. And unless he gets these eyes, in fact, he gets the eyes, and all of a sudden his life is completely transformed. And the whole message seems to be, look at that guy, he's a loser. Thank goodness Ben is there to save him. And if he doesn't give him his eyes, this guy's going to be a loser with a disability for the rest of his life. It's actually really quite a bizarre message when you think about that whole subplot, which leads me to my final point, which is, what the heck was up with that last scene of the film? The rest of the movie has a fairly consistent tone. It's serious, there's drama, there's a bit of thriller, there's a bit of mystery in there. It's not really played for laughs. There's sort of lighter moments, but they're very much in the tone of a romantic drama. And then all of a sudden, we get this happy ending, and that's not really the issue. The issue is what we see happening on screen. Ben is dead. Ezra has his eyes. Emily has his heart. They meet up. Wow, what a touching scene. And then Ezra turns around, and you have Woody Harrelson with fake Will Smith eyes, and it is the creepiest looking thing you will ever see in a movie. It's the most unintentionally funny moment I've seen in a movie in a long time. I laughed when I saw it. It's the weirdest thing ever. Woody Harrelson doesn't suit Will Smith's eyes. It's like this black soulless demon has taken this man, and I laughed out loud. Every time I see it, I laugh out loud. It was so terrible and out of kilter with the tone of the rest of the film. So yeah, £7. Not a drama, not a romantic drama, but a truly horrific tale about a man who spirals into a depression and a cycle of guilt and shame that leads him to believe that he has to commit suicide and have his organs harvested, and in the process he has to lie to a whole lot of people, isolate himself from his family, and then lie to this woman and then sleep with her before he commits suicide, and she ends up with his heart. Like I said, this very easily sounds like it was meant to be a horror movie and not a drama. Thanks for watching. See you next time on Left Foot Media.